Hey, everybody, it's me, Dave Schrader from the Paranormal 60, Ghosts of Devil's Perch, and the Holzer Files. And for some reason, you're tuned in to the Paranomaly Zone.
A ghostly apparition in the dark of night.
So, Mike, from now on, I have a new favorite quote to associate with you.
With me?
Yeah, with you.
Okay.
Would you care to hear it?
I would love to hear it. I want to see how offended I'll become.
No, you're not going to be offended. You're not going to be offended at all. Nope. Now,
Okay.
I think I mentioned this to you last weekend, actually, when you and I got to meet up in person for another paranormal adventure. But now, whenever I see Mike's bubbly face, the the phrase, and I'll do my best to give you justice. The phrase that pops into my head is buttons. Now,
Yeah. I remember that.
okay, good. I was worried that you wouldn't remember that. It made me laugh then, and it makes me laugh in my mind, and I'm glad you recalled that too, because I was afraid it was going to be a horrible bomb, you know.
Yeah. No, that was... Yeah, it wasn't... okay, what's the backstory on it again now? We came across some buttons.
Yes.
yeah.
Very
At
briefly.
Standing Rock.
No, it wasn't Standing Rock. It was.
Oh, okay.
It was at Fort Seward.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
During our paranormal adventure last week, to keep it very brief and to use this as a segue to our opening Ghost Gab segment here, we got a couple of cool things to talk about for Ghost Gab, I believe. But very briefly, we after much hardship and driving around in circles, we did find the remains of Fort Seward in Jamestown, North Dakota.
North Dakota.
Lovely city. Lovely city. Not much was remaining of that fort. It's a Civil War fort.
Nothing really at all.
Nothing really at all. No.
The flagpole.
The flagpole, which made us both uncomfortable when we went to the base of it and looked straight up.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was all about, but I didn't like it. It was so tall.
Vertigo struck very, very hard.
That's what it was.
Things started spinning, and I started hearing a dog bark somewhere in the distance.
Oh, that was me. I'm sorry about that.
Okay. But it was all faint and muffled.
It was
Anyway.
odd. I didn't like how it made me feel. But it's a fort loaded with history. No military action really per se went down at that fort. It was more of a supply fort. But still, it's always so cool to visit those places. But on site there, they have a nice little museum that we ventured into. We initially were going to drive past it, but then we saw, hey, there's an open sign there. So we decided to saunter on in. And there's a nice young lady working there.
We got there just when she was going to close, I think.
Yes, we did. We made her stay like an extra 10 minutes, and she's like, that's okay. It's totally fine. And I said an utterly creepy thing to her, too, right before we left.
Yeah, we need to hear that.
I will share that. Trust me. But while we were perusing a lot of the Civil War artifacts, a lot of them was super cool stuff. A lot of the Civil War wear, a lot of the garb, bayonets, bullets. A
lot of rifles and guns.
Rifles, exactly. Photos. Anyways, lots of cool stuff. It was a nice little museum / shop. But anyways, Civil War uniforms a lot of times were heavily adorned with buttons. And while
Yeah, that's right.
while Mike and I were checking out some of the artifacts, I was looking at one display case, and I mean, you were within earshot, obviously, but I just happened to glance over, and Mike is leaning over, ever so delicately, over this display case, and he just utters that. It sounds so stupid to the listeners. Oh my God, it made me laugh so hard. It's just staring down, just, gingerly, and such a caring look, and you just go, buttons. But you didn't start laughing, but I started laughing immediately.
I was enthralled, I think.
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
They were very old.
They were very old. But man, it was one of those things that struck me as funny. And I obviously have not forgotten it, and I never will forget it. It was combined with your look, Mike. It was combined with how you looked.
Yeah.
It was a sweet moment.
Well, actually, what I was going to say, until I caught myself, I was going to go, M&Ms.
Okay, gotcha.
And that wouldn't have fit right.
No, that wouldn't have fit right. No, I think the M&Ms came long after the Civil War, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's just how my brain perceived what it was. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like he thought like he thought he was going to eat the buttons for a second. Like it sounded like an appetizing So that's why it was pretty entertaining for me. So, anyways, moving on. Before I forget, when we were about ready to leave, and like I said, we forced that poor young gal to keep the shop open a couple extra minutes past closing time. And on the way out, we introduced ourselves. We signed the guest book, put down Paranormally Zone and all that stuff. And she asked where we're from. And after a brief exchange, then I, how did I say that exactly? I basically went, do you allow, overnight stays at this museum? And she wasn't sure. And then just out of the blue, I say, well, because we'd like to stay here and do creepy stuff. And it's like, oh my God.
I thought she was going to faint.
It was one of those things, like the moment the words left your mouth, you're like going, oh shit. It's like, that sounded terrible. Yeah. Come back. You're trying to grab the words and stuff them back down your stupid throat.
Yeah. And did you notice that when
Did I notice that when what? See, Mike's already flustered.
She had pepper spray or something in there. She was going to get you.
I think she was. Yeah, she was. She was starting to lurch forward in a defensive, position. No, she was very nice.
She was really cool.
Yeah, and she just kind of gave me a funny look, and I quickly explained what I meant by that.
Yes.
I don't think it made it any better.
You had to pull both feet out of your mouth.
I did.
But it was funny. It was fun.
It was fun. So yeah. So buttons and creepy stuff. So yeah.
Fodder for the episode.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. For sure. So and we did post some pretty cool content from our excursions from last weekend. As Mike mentioned, we did revisit Standing Rock. Then we, like I said, we made our way to Jamestown. We did a deprivation and our own version of the Estes method in Mike's very own basement.
It was quite interesting.
It was quite interesting. I posted the night vision camera 32-minute segment video on Patreon, as well as, I believe, a 10 or 12-minute clip of the thermal filming Mike doing the same deprivation. And I will soon share the digital recording after I listen to it. You never know. Maybe we picked up some cool, creepy EVPs on
I hope so.
Digital. Some of those answers, Mike, some of those answers during the deprivation session,
yes,
they were uncanny when it came to making sense to the questions I was throwing out. And you could not hear me at all. And some of those answers were pretty coinky-dinky, I would say. So, I don't know. If you'd like to support the podcast, no better way, go check out our Patreon page. You can sign up for as little as $1 a month there. The necessary evil of the annoying plug is over. But we also have 75 exclusive Patreon episodes available for your listening pleasure.
I have a complaint about that though,
Oh,
Patrick.
oh my God, that's right.
Okay.
Mike just signed up
So-
as a Patreon member.
Yes, earlier this evening, because I wanted to really see this, this footage of the deprivation and everything.
Yes,
I thought,
exactly.
well, yeah. And I thought, okay, well, I'm sorry, but I was going to sign up for $1.
Mhm.
I'm still trying to be supportive.
Yes,
But when I tried that and I tried to change it to $1, it came up and said, you cannot join for less than $5.
no. It says that.
It's popped right up and wouldn't let me do it.
Oh,
then
that's interesting.
So then I clicked the $5 thing, and then the part that you click on to send it, then that lit up. It was like, yeah.
Interesting.
So,
Well, that's actually, in all sincerity, that's good to know. That you should be able to sign up for $1, no doubt about it.
Yep. You better check the settings on that one.
I absolutely will. But I know that the settings are, if you want, and we'll just be forthright here. If you sign up for $1, you get all the episodes for free. You get all the audio stuff not for free. You get it all for $1. So you get the 75 episodes for $1. When you start, if you want to watch all the exclusive video content, then you have to pay $3 or $5. I believe I removed the $3 option, and so now it's $5. So maybe is that what you're referring to? Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it did say that I couldn't do it for
Okay.
less than $5.
That's not cool. That's not cool.
The thing was scamming me. You got a specific scam button in there, don't you?
Yeah. Oh well. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, that's
so.
That's okay. I needed to support the best I could, and $1 would have been the best I could, but now
I know.
I'm stuck for $5.
Yeah,
No,
but
I'm just kidding.
but now you can watch everything. Now you have access to
Absolutely.
everything on the page. So
Yeah, and I needed access to the video for sure. So
and if any of you have tried to sign up for $1 and that has happened to you, let me know, because that shouldn't be the case. So that's good to know.
boy, we could have a ton more listeners right now.
I guess it's my fault. My fault.
No, I'm sure it's all fine.
But like I said, we're up front and forthright here. If that's the case, that's purely a mistake on my part, and I shall remedy that as soon as we're done with this. So, but of course, Mike could just be lying and trying to embarrass me while we are recording
no.
the episode.
I wouldn't embarrass you unless it was something that was true and real, and that was your own fault.
Oh yeah, okay. Well,
So-
doesn't that just encompass everything you just talked about right there?
Absolutely.
True and real and my fault. Fine.
I summed it up.
All right, Mike, Ghost Gab. Segue into Ghost Gab. This time we're talking about some weird experiences, potentially weird experiences. One that was shared to me by my lovely niece, Chloe, longtime listener, Chloe. She'll be listening to this sometime in the future, I am certain. Thank you, Chloe, for allowing me to share your most recent odd experience.
And this is very recent, ongoing.
Yeah, just earlier this week. If you haven't listened, go back to one of our ghost stories episode where Chloe was kind enough to join us and share a lot of her experiences, her and her family.
Great episode.
A lot of stuff has happened at her little humble abode to her and her family. Great episode. Yes. Awesome job by Chloe. Really intriguing, sometimes creepy stuff. This one, I can see as being maybe interpreted as creepy, but after she shared it with me, I made sure, my natural reaction was, oh, that's so cool. But then I go, oh, wait, it was cool if it didn't bother you in any manner.
Right.
And she's like, no. I felt, totally fine. So I'm just going to read her text message that she sent me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound fair, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Buttons.
Yes, very much so.
Buttons. Okay. So she sent me, she goes, so everything has been quiet here until just now. So this was just last Thursday. Her newest baby boy, Graham, cute as a button, Graham, not the type of buttons that you like, Mike, so don't,
Right. Buttons.
Buttons. Before the episode is over, I'm going to ask you to say that so I can record it and share it as a soundbite. I'm going to put it on
I would love that.
on the soundboard. She says, Graham was in his high chair by the kitchen table. Now you have to envision this. I, Chloe, was in the kitchen doing dishes. There is a car seat on the table blocking my view from Graham at that time. So she couldn't see little Graham. He's in his high chair. She says that Graham was crying because he wanted to get down, but she needed to finish the darn dishes. I added the darn part in there. Or the damn dishes. Or the effing dishes, whatever. And she says, about a minute, 2 minutes, he just stopped crying out of the blue. She goes, about 10 seconds go by after he stops crying, and she walked out of the kitchen, around the table to look at him to see why he stopped crying. She wanted to make sure that he was fine.
He was gone.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, I mean, it was, the way I interpreted it, it was kind of like one of those creepy things where you're like, not creepy, but one of those odd things where the kid is just crying, and all of a sudden, boom, done. Like instantaneous.
Right.
So she wanted to check on him, make sure that her little boy is fine. And she says, this is what she writes. She goes, when I saw him, he was turned to the side. And now you have to envision this. This is a little tiny baby boy. Turned to the side with his arms up. I'm reenacting this for Mike. With his arms up like he was expecting to be picked up. Both of his arms up like he was expecting to be picked up. His head was tilted back a little bit. He had a small smile on his face and his eyes were closed. This is what he does when someone either rubs his cheeks or kisses him. When I give him kisses, he always grabs my face to hold it, like with his arms up like that. She says, almost immediately when I saw him, he opened his eyes and dropped his arms, looked around, and then looked at me.
He was confused.
She says, I think there was someone there either giving him a kiss, and he was holding their face, or he was reaching for them to pick him up, and they were rubbing his cheek because she sees that, she knows this is her boy. She knows all this. And that total vibe that she got was that someone was there to comfort Graham while Chloe's hands were busy getting the dishes done. That's kind of interesting. So I write back immediately like, oh, that's so cool. Like I said earlier, of course, if you weren't bothered by it. And she said, no, she felt that was actually kind of cool. She thought someone was there to basically, comfort him.
It could be some, or did she have any feeling of who it might have been, or have any thought?
No, she didn't. But she did say that she told Graham to say hi to whomever it may have been.
Right. Well, that's cool. Most likely with some ancestor, going way back or recent, or who knows? It could have been family checking in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Or just maybe, a considerate spirit, a caring spirit, passing by.
Right.
Any number of things. I thought was really intriguing. Again, I highly encourage you to go find that Ghost Stories episode. Listen to all the stuff that she's experienced, and you'll appreciate this little experience even more so, because a lot of it kind of gels together, and it's kind of cool, kind of intriguing.
It's great stuff. Yeah.
Now, quickly, the other weird thing that happened, and then Mike, I don't know, you know me, I've talked myself out of this possibility by.
Oh, I'm sure you usually do.
I'll keep it as brief as possible. Long story short, I get home from work every day. I know it sounds weird. It's probably some OCD stuff, but the first thing I usually do is get my clothes ready for the next day. Is that weird? I do that.
I used to do that.
Oh, good. Okay. And now, our bathroom, we're still in the process of having our upstairs bathroom completely finished and redone. It's usable. The new shower is in there, but nothing is. Well, I shouldn't say nothing, but it isn't complete. And I'm being Mr. Stubborn. And when the renovation started, I moved all of my stuff down to the downstairs bathroom. And Bridget, is using the upstairs one. And I just haven't moved anything back up there yet. I'm being stubborn. I'm like, I'm not going to move it up there until it's done. There's no particular reason. It's just me. So, my stuff is downstairs. My two girls' bedrooms are downstairs. They've both been gone. Macy has actually been traveling overseas the last couple weeks. And Jaden has been, she just returned from her stint at Upward Bound at Bemidji State University. So she's been gone the whole summer. She comes up every weekend. But I leave my clothes when the girls aren't there, which they weren't this last week. I leave my clothes. I just put them on the freezer outside of the bathroom downstairs. I just leave them there. If they are there, I have them in the bathroom. Just again, it's another one of my quirks. It's like I don't want my clothes out here. I'll just put them in the bathroom.
And they're probably immaculately folded, pressed, and
Yes.
a little bit of starch.
They're perfumed. Yes, they're ready to go.
There's still a wee bit of powder on the bottom.
Just a wee bit of powder. So, I mean, and I've been doing this all summer. Well, gosh, since the bathroom renovation started, basically, or the bathroom update. I always grab my clothes. Always. Go downstairs, and they're there. Because also, I go down there, and I powder up. No, I don't powder up. But I take my contacts out, and I put my glasses on. Okay? Because my eyeballs are usually, they're like screaming at me, get these things out of here. So by the time I get home from work, it's another thing I do. Take my contacts out. Mike's smirking at me.
Well, I'm just picturing you like digging through your cupboard and everything, looking for a box of Mr. Bubbles or something.
Mr. Bubbles?
Yeah. Well, they had to take that off out of production many, many years ago because it caused some problems for some people.
I'm sure it did.
Infections and such. But anyway, go ahead.
Gracious. And again, it's not going to seem weird to anybody other than me. And then I talk myself out of it. Of course I did. But this is something I do every day. Every day. I never, ever bring the clothes anywhere near, like, I never bring them out to the kitchen or anything like that. It's always straight from, if they're folded in the bathroom upstairs on top of the dryer, I grab them there, or I grab them from our bedroom and I go immediately down into the basement onto the freezer or on the rack in the bathroom. Always. That's just how it is. Okay? Long story short, too late.
I was just going to say way too late.
Way too late. The next day, after this particular incident, well, it didn't seem like an incident. I go downstairs and I'm getting ready to go to work, and I go to grab my clothes, and then I noticed something amiss. A pair of sunglasses, Bridget's sunglasses, to be precise, were laying right on top of my perfectly folded, perfumed, and slightly powdered pile of clothes. I asked Bridget, did you bring your sunglasses downstairs for some reason and then decide to put them on top of my pile of clothes? And she's like, what? She's like, no. Why would I have done that?
I would have remembered that, Patrick.
Yes. She didn't even go downstairs that day. I mean, again, it seems mundane and boring, but to me, it flipped me out for a little bit because I'm like, why are these here?
Yeah,
Why
there's
are
no
they?
explanation.
I would have noticed.
Around.
There's one thing to have them like thrown in the bottom of my clothes. Like, let's say I did bring my clothes out and I threw them on whatever, the countertop on the kitchen table, and then somehow I decided to grab Bridget's clothes or Bridget's sunglasses, threw them on my clothes, and then grab my other clothes and put those clothes on top of Bridget's sunglasses. It wasn't like that. No, these are on top of my pile of clothes. I don't know how I could not have possibly noticed that when I brought them downstairs. Why would I have grabbed the sunglasses? Why would I put them on top of the clothes, and why didn't I notice them? I don't know.
You're getting kind of worked up now.
I am getting worked up because I don't... Because, again, I realize it sounds boring and mundane to the listeners, but it was just kind of strange. It doesn't fit my OCD.
It's a prime example of what can happen in a, just a mellow haunting, that it can be anywhere from, something like that, as simple as that you cannot explain, or up to Joe Beth Williams getting freaked out by all the chairs stacked in the kitchen.
Oh, good reference to Poltergeist. Yeah.
It's just a wide range of, I mean, I used to have, like when I lived in base housing in, I think it was Grand Forks. But anyway, I would have something missing out of the closet and I would look for it constantly and I wouldn't find it. And here it would end up coming back somewhere else in the house. Like it was just, things like that.
Well, stuff like that happened recently to you with what, like you thought that your dad might have been playing pranks on you because stuff was showing up at your house right now that went, things would go missing. And then you're like, oh, then they would show up like on the floor. And I'd ask you, like, did the dogs bring them over there or something like that? And you were adamant, no, the dogs would not do that. I can't remember the exact item, but...
Well, there's like the dog tags.
Dog tags, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were hanging on Mishka, our Great Pyrenees, and they ended up missing. I don't know if she got caught on something and pulled it and whatever, but so we could not find her dog tags at all anywhere. And it maybe, I don't know if it was like a week or so later. I mean, it wasn't that long that we were sitting on the couch and the shepherd was on the left side on the floor and the Pyrenees was on the right side. And all of a sudden we hear this something hitting the floor, like right by Mishka, the one that lost these tags. And it's like, we didn't hear anything. We heard it, but we didn't see anything. We didn't see him falling or anything. They were just there, like right in front of her, like close to her, where she was laying down. It was really crazy, but there's another piece on it that was missing still. Had like a hook on it and something, I don't know what it was, but a few days after the dog tags were dropped, the rest of the dog tags and the collar, or parts of the collar, were dropped over here away from the living room. So that was really amazing. And we don't know where and again, when the second part was dropped, it was again dropped by Mishka where she was laying on this side on that day. But yeah, pretty interesting.
I mean, yeah, that's just crazy. Like you said, just kind of subtle.
Well, it's also like,
oh, sure.
sorry.
Go ahead.
It's also like the time when Mary and I were standing by my podcast area here, and something fell on my head from above. And, there is nothing that would have fallen from the ceiling, but it thumped like a little stone or something.
Yeah, you felt it.
Oh, I felt it on the top of my head. And, Steve had, when I talked to him about it, he had said that I bet it was Dad, checking in on, because when we were kids and whatever, he'd say, "I'm going to thump you," not so much like that's how he's going to punish her or anything.
Oh, no, sure. Yeah, I got
my dad was a big joker, but so, yeah. And what that meant to him, thumping you, that was like hitting you on the top of the head.
Yeah. Like a little flick, like blink.
yeah. Something. Yeah.
That's interesting.
So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I love stuff like that. Who the hell knows? I mean, like I said, how I am, and I came to the conclusion, sadly, that I must have somehow grabbed them, even though it goes against everything that I know about myself.
You don't have enough trust in yourself.
Yeah. Well, when it comes, paranormally speaking, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me tell you, once you believe and you have, I know you believe, but not until you have that 100% knowledge that, yes, this is true, and these are things that I was seeing. When you get to that point, you're going to be a lot happier than what you are now, and it makes...
Well, it makes... Mike is so...
it and...
I'm sorry, you froze up. It said, and it makes what?
What did I say just before it? It makes...
You were saying it makes sense. You said it will make me a lot happier, and because it makes, and then you froze up. So I apologize. Well, I don't apologize. I apologize on behalf of the software we're using right now, because the spirits are messing with us, apparently. So
yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, okay. But it's interesting. Yeah, you just need to still finish that last little bit of opening up.
I know.
You're going to be much happier. You're going to have a lot more fun doing what we do.
And the thing is too, and we're going to move on to the meat of the subject, because we're almost a half hour into it. We haven't even done the introductions yet. Not that people don't know who we are. But then it's also, if something like that did legit happen, if it was paranormal in nature, the way I envision it is like kind of like, again, harkening back to last episode, somehow a physical break through the veil where like the sunglasses just kind of manifested themselves on top of my clothes. I don't sit there and picture like while everyone's asleep, like a pair of sunglasses floating in the air going down the steps, finding its way to the freezer to be gently placed on top of my clothes.
You can kind of, when you do see that, you can kind of see like fishing line holding it up.
Right, exactly.
But who's controlling it? I don't know.
Well, it'd be even worse if the sunglasses were actually like splayed out like they were on someone's face. So you just saw like Not folded up. They're like 5 feet off the ground and just taking step by step down the steps. So, yeah, who knows?
The Invisible Man took everything off but his glasses.
He did. Yeah, exactly. It was a little hard for him to see. So, anyways, Mike, if you are new to the program, believe it or not, we do get new listeners very rarely, but it happens. My name is Patrick Hoffenberg, and of course, you're listening to the melodious, dulcet tones of my co-host with the ghost, Mr. Mike Carbno.
The dulcet tones of the co-host with the ghost, Mike.
I love that.
Carbno.
Listen to that radio voice, boys and girls.
Anyway.
Yes, if you haven't guessed it, this is your bi-weekly dose of all things paranormal, strange, and mysterious. That's right, this is the Paranormally Zone. Again, for the sake of repeating myself, my name is Patrick Hoffenberg, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host with the ghosts, the paranormal poster boy himself, the bubbly, yet sometimes cantankerous, but always button-loving Michael Carbno. It's good to see you. I guess we should dive into the meat of the episode, Mike. We're talking here, believe it or not, deep sea ETs. Bum, 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 bum. Yeehaw. Yeah, we spent about 25 minutes talking all things ghosts and all sorts of weird stuff and Mike's love of buttons. But the subject at hand, deep sea extraterrestrials. Mike.
USOs.
I love this idea. I love this possibility. We're going to go any which way when it comes to this discussion. What are they doing? If this is true, what's going on? Why are they here? Why do they choose the oceans? I mean, who knows where the hell we'll go with this topic at hand. I'm looking forward to the discussion. I also have an interesting moments of the macabre, some macabre history for you. Macabre before we wrap up the show. Mike, when I think of underwater ETs, deep sea ETs, has kind of a catchy tone to it, I guess. Catchy, a catchy catchphrase for a title.
Yes.
Buttons. Every time you go, you have to say buttons.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the rule.
Okay, I'll work on that.
I think of the movie, the classic, one of my favorite all-time movies, the James Cameron classic.
Yes.
The Abyss.
Yes, I knew you were going to say that.
I love that movie.
I love it. Love it. So cool.
If you aren't familiar, it's about a deep-sea oil rig and its crew who are summoned by the U.S. military due to their locale, the closeness to this object of concern. They are summoned to retrieve and search for any survivors, retrieve bodies, search for survivors of a nearby crashed submarine, military vehicle, obviously. And the story goes from there. Of course, there's some nefarious goings on with some of the Navy SEALs involved. They're actually there to retrieve some nuclear warheads for naughty reasons. Unbeknownst to everybody, Mike, slowly but surely it is revealed that there is an alien, a beautiful alien, I don't want to say civilization perhaps, but definitely a subset of sorts of an alien civilization in the deepest, darkest depths of.
Also the deekest.
And a deekest, too. Deekest is a cool new term. I like that. Deekest.
Don't be such a deekest.
And yeah, don't think that we were talking about the Marinara Trench either.
No, absolutely.
But yeah, we're talking about the depths, such as the Mariana Trench and so on and so forth. I'm sure most of our listeners have seen this awesome movie. But it gets us thinking, Mike, what is the possibility of something like that being legit? To start the conversation, let's just kind of ramble back and forth. Let's BS. What do you think about the idea of, Mike, of something of that size, something of that, oh my gosh, overwhelming stature, technology, intelligence going on right here on good old planet Earth in the depths of the ocean?
Well, look at how much of the depths of the oceans that we don't know about are unexplored. You always hear that, we know more about the moon than we do our oceans or whatever.
A little stat for you. A stat for you, 70% of the Earth covered by the ocean. 80% of the ocean is unlogged. It's basically uncharted territory. So that's a lot of territory of the unknown right there.
There could be an underwater alien base there that's the size of Texas somewhere.
Good Lord Almighty!
Wouldn't you think?
Well, why not? You could fit how many
Absolutely.
thousands of Texases in the ocean?
Absolutely. So
How do you say the plural of
It-
Texases? Or there's more than one Texas. Is it Texi? Texases?
textitated.
Textitated sounds good.
And we're not ripping on Texas in any way.
Oh God, I know. We have to throw that out there all the time. Someone's offended by
Yeah.
everything. So,
Well, I spent a great time there during basic training. In
nice.
yes,
Very cool.
San Antonio area.
It's okay, Mike. It's okay. It really is.
It was hot.
Very hot. Very, very warm.
Yes.
Well, you think about it though. 80% uncharted. 70% covers this gigantic Earth. I mean, the Earth is minuscule in comparison to some other celestial bodies out there.
Oh yeah.
It would seem to me, Mike, it would be kind of a logical, perhaps protected spot
Extremely.
for maybe an observational vantage point. Maybe, they've always been here since the dawn of man, so to speak. Absolutely undetected. They're just checking us out. And they're protected by how many, I guess what? Uncountable tons of water. I mean, it's unfathomable. Say that 5 times fast. Seems to
Say
me
it
like a
once
logical.
fast.
Yeah, say it once fast. Seems to me like a logical hideout, for lack of a better term. Wouldn't you say?
It's safe and secure, and all the room they need. And like you said, so much that hasn't been discovered or looked at or whatever studied. Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me.
If there is such a thing as deep sea ETs, Mike, and we're going along, we're starting off kind of along the basis of like an underwater city basically, or a base
yes.
underwater. I don't want to say military base, but gosh, habitable structures down there for these ETs, these extraterrestrials. If they are, let's for argument's sake say that this is actually happening. What's the first thing that pops in your brain when I ask that question? What are they doing? What are they doing?
I think it's everything that you could imagine for us on the Earth. I'm sure they're doing different duties and tasks, and there's probably military types down there, and doctors, the physicists, that would be comparable to what we have. Like a big Area 51 or something like that. I don't know. There's a lot of keeping an eye on everything, I believe.
Okay, that's what I'm kind of getting at. So,
yeah.
Do you think that there is that possibility that they have been here simply for observation? Are they checking us out? Have they been checking us out? Have they been helping us evolve? Or I don't know, some may think we're devolving.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Are they manipulating us in any number of ways? I mean, kind of what vibe you're getting at, Mike? Let's get into kind of like let's get into the heavy, chunky thinking here.
Well, I think a lot of it could be there's a technology down there. There's a technology that they have harnessed or they have brought from where they first came from. Who knows? And it has something to do with trying to keep the balance of the planet. There's our planet is in so much trouble. It's such a violent and hostile planet. Really, even without the people, it's the weather conditions, the volcanoes, earthquakes, everything. It's tornadoes. Very violent planet, I think. Unless you live in like Norway or Sweden, maybe, but I don't know.
Or Andrew,
anyway,
North Dakota.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, there's a specific reason, and I think they've just always been there. I mean, it was just part of the beginning.
So what is your vibe? I want to get into the mind of my button loving friend here.
Oh, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
go ahead.
yes, I do. So again, I wrote down, what are they doing? Why are they here? Why the ocean? I mean, we're kind of, we're not waltzing around the depths of this conversation here by any means, but let's really try and get into the meat, like we say here.
Yeah,
As
I'm
we are,
falling short.
No, you're not falling short at all. Absolutely not.
Okay.
You're setting it all up, and you're kind of giving a Cliff Notes version.
Yeah. Sometimes that's all I got.
Do you think? Oh, stop it. Do you think, Mike, perhaps they are there because they have somehow learned to use water as like a power source, maybe?
Right.
I mean, more so than we have, obviously. 10 times, 100 times, a million times what we have learned from the force of water. Are there elements of that they cannot find anywhere else that they need from the Earth's water, that they need for survival? No, you can't say You have to add a word at the end of that.
No, yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah,
No. You have to say.
Go
you
ahead.
can't say without saying. Come on. You know what to say.
Okay, you were still going, so go ahead and,
Okay,
and
so
finish
next
what
time.
you're saying, and then I'll be able to put full input into it.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're missing what I'm trying to say.
Threw it right back on you, didn't I?
No.
Sorry.
I thought I firmly established what you're supposed to say every time you say You're supposed to follow it up with a certain word. See, now he got it. There he goes.
Buttons. Jeez, boy, you're skipping all over the place.
I'm not skipping all over the place.
Confuse the hell out of me.
I think I'm going to start calling you Buttons. That's going to be your nickname.
Just don't call me Red Buttons. Little old reddish-haired man.
I say this most endearingly, Mike. Buttons seems to fit you as a great nickname.
Okay, as long as you don't put the clown after it. Something like that.
Okay, well, Mike doesn't seem to like that, but hey, that's
hey, I'll go with that.
Well, and also maybe I shouldn't. Maybe Mary can call you Buttons. That seems
Buttons.
like a cute
Buttons.
Oh, god dang it. Okay. See, now I lost my train of thinking.
I have a very old
Button
potato chip tin. It's a big one. It's from probably the 30s or early 40s, maybe. And there are antique buttons in that. Yeah. So anyway, I must have a fascination with buttons.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so maybe they're utilizing water because maybe they don't have access to water anywhere else. I mean,
yeah.
Recent astronomical discoveries, and not so recent ones, suggest that there has been, or there is still maybe water out there in the universe, other celestial bodies that are surrounded by water, but maybe they're so few and far between that this was a good landing spot for them. Like, hey, look at this. We really need this to help us survive. I mean, maybe perhaps that is solely the reason. Maybe the water is helping them exist. Maybe.
Well, I remember a story that was told to me about this person's father was driving by the lakes, whatever, early in the morning, going to work or something. And it was out in your area, and she had said that he saw like a round UFO above the water in this one lake area, whatever, and it looked like it was sucking up water from the lake right up into the ship, like the bottom of the ship. And I mean, that was a story that was told to me from a person that, direct contact with the person that supposedly had this event. So, it wasn't like just like a, hearsay or a third person passed down story.
Right.
Yeah.
That when you said that rang a bell. I want to say that we shared that story when we talked with Dave Schrader on the episode last time Dave Schrader joined us. I know we've talked about similar things.
Possible.
I could be wrong, but for some reason I'm thinking that we may have talked about such an occurrence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I love that. You said near me. That happened up north.
Well, up in that area. Well, it was Colleen's father.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. R.I.P. Colleen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's going on there, man. I mean, according to the story, it looked like you said, the water was being directly like siphoned. You know,
Right.
I don't like saying
So
sucked, so I'll say
yeah.
siphoned.
So that kind of proves there that they are extracting water for some reason. They aren't just down in the water, for, well, partially, I'm sure, for the security reasons and everything. But so to
Yeah,
be
protection.
sucking water up out of the lake from above like that, it's like a refueling, or do they need water to, um, manufacture their own hydrogen, something, along that line for energy. There's so many theories that there could be. I mean, I'm just talking out my sphincter for a second, but
Ooh, good use of the word
yeah,
sphincter. Very good.
yeah.
That might be the first time
So
on the Paranormally Zone we've ever uttered the word sphincter.
it sounds like a German word, sphincter.
Yeah. Sphincter! That was terrible. I don't know what the hell
Oh
overcame
man,
me.
and you being proud of your German heritage, and
I
you
am.
just
I am. I'm
did
very.
that.
I'm very
Okay.
proud.
I know you are.
Um,
So anyway,
I like that idea. I really do. I like the idea of perhaps, using or controlling, manipulating water, for their benefit.
mhm.
Well, Cripes, they even said that in the Abyss. The moment I said, I think they mentioned that in the movie too. The moment I said it, that rang a bell, because I believe I believe the main character, Ed Harris's character, says something along the lines like, maybe that's what their whole intention is. Controlling water, basically.
Right.
Water is a powerful force. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I recommend that movie to anybody that hasn't seen it. It's such a great movie.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
It shows another side of the alien species that might be down there. There's nothing nefarious or benevolent about it.
No,
Malevolent about it.
malevolent is what you meant.
Right.
Malevolent,
Yes.
yeah.
They are quite malevolent.
Or yeah, malevolent.
Malevolent. But
We all know what you meant.
very angelic creatures.
Yes. Yeah. It's interesting too. Like every time, like you would see, or like one of those, those underwater aliens would make an appearance, all of the man-made equipment would lose its power.
Right.
That's
Typical.
Typical man-made junk, right? What exactly that was suggesting, I mean, who knows? I mean, that sounds kind of paranormally related to me, because how often do investigators experience power drainages? I mean, my gosh, hands in the air right here. How many times has that happened to you and me, Mike?
Absolutely.
Fully charged batteries
just
of all sorts, going back a decade and a half. They die the moment we walk into a place. It's like,
and it happened last weekend
yeah, it did.
as well. Yeah.
I don't
A
know
couple
what's
of
going
different
on.
places.
I blame you. I think you are
Yeah.
so paranormally charged that
Yeah, I'm electromagnetically oversourced or something. I don't know.
yeah. The thing is, when I was filming you the whole time for that thermal, I was waiting to see you turn like just bright blue, like your body temperature just drops for no reason. But no, you were red the whole time, and you were good. Your thermal image suggests nothing but health, so that's good.
Oh, well, I'll believe that lie.
Come on.
Anyway.
Yeah, I know the use of water, the hideout, Mike. There's just so many, possibilities that pop into our feeble little minds. I'm sure there's stuff that we can't even rationalize, that may perhaps be the true reason behind this, if it is indeed occurring. Now, how often, Mike, do you hear or you read about undersea, deep sea discoveries that look, let us say, to put it mildly, like man-made structures, but it's like, oh my gosh,
absolutely.
this seems a wee bit too intricate for our man minds, our human minds. Something else at work here? I mean, the word Atlantis pops into my little brain.
Yeah.
Any number of other underwater, submerged, looks like man-made structures again. What did I read? Sorry, I'm looking at my professional notes.
There's
They could be totally.
off the coast of Japan is a really
Yeah.
fantastic mega structure that.
Oh, there's so much stuff on. There's so many awesome locales that if Mike and I we need to refresh on our. Mike, you and I need to refresh on our scuba diving skills. I know that you are an expert scuba diver, deep sea diver, Mike.
I will die if I have a fear of drowning. I would not. That's like the worst way to die.
Oh my gosh. And the thing is, I've heard the total opposite too. I've heard that it's like the most peaceful way to go. But hey.
Oh no.
Okay.
I wouldn't like it.
Scuba diving buttons at your service. Scuba buttons. Sorry, Mike. Sorry. I know he's going to get sick of the buttons nickname before we know it here. I apologize. And I'm apologizing to Mike directly because he is frozen right now. He's frozen in mid-giggle. I tell you what, when you do freeze up, you're usually smiling. And so it's a pleasant frozen frame.
Yeah,
but what I was going to say is that
one time you froze up, you had your finger way up your nose.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, good timing on that one. Good timing. At least I had my pants on because I'm really fast.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe that. Well, if you didn't have your pants on, I'm not so sure that would have been your finger. Sorry. Scratch that.
Oh no, we're not scratching anything. But I think I don't think I did read it because I wrote it down. There are over 100 documented submerged urban landscapes across the earth. Submerged urban, I'm doing that in air quotes, urban landscapes. Most of them are, of course, are man-made structures that have been overtaken by the water over the course of centuries, but maybe perhaps not all of them.
Like when they're going to make a...
froze up again. Man, this internet connection is just it's to say that it puts me in a state of flux is putting it mildly, ladies and germs. This time he's really frozen, so I have to pause. We shall return seamlessly.
Hey, what happened?
All right, we have returned after yet another time-traveling excursion. I'm not sure if that one was very seamless, but I guess our listeners will find out on the playback how seamless our time-traveling excursion was. It was a much-needed time-traveling excursion because I lost you there.
Yeah.
But you're
Something
back.
Happened to... Yes.
And you're still fully intact.
Yes, everything's copacetic.
Okay. You didn't have any unfortunate, Scotty beam me up moments where you returned and some limbs were misplaced or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. We were on such a roll, Mike. We set the internet on fire. It just couldn't handle our brain waves. That's how that works.
I only saw a little bit of a smolder and a little bit of smoke. Yeah. But if we set it on fire, that's okay.
Yeah. Smelly, smoldering smoke.
Yeah.
A pungent paranormal aroma of some sort.
Mm-hmm. Paranormal aroma. Something old, moldy, and musty.
Okay, to restart here, kind of regather our thoughts and get the train rolling again, so to speak. During our time-traveling excursions, Mike, and apologize if it doesn't seem very seamless to wherever our conversation ended up before Mike disappeared into the ether. Your thoughts, Mike, on the chances that if, again, there is an underwater alien, perhaps civilization, or even just a base of sorts, a giant alien hotel underwater, or a motel, whichever they prefer. Any chance in your mind, Mike, that it is hostile in nature? You said hostile earlier, referring to something totally different, but it got me thinking.
Right.
Should we be concerned in Mike's mind?
Well, I'm sure there are more than one different species of aliens that have been living in the ocean. Who knows if some of them are good or some are bad, some are downright evil. I think they're all there. So there's probably things going down in the ocean between those different species than what you'd even imagine. I mean, maybe there's some type of trade going on, or but if they had their own technology that is probably way advanced.
Are they trading? Are they trading humans?
Buttons.
But thank you, you did it! Yay!
Um, uh, maybe there could be some kind of a joint alien effort about the study and whatever they're doing with humans.
Well, let's go down that path, Mike, just for argument's sake. We tend to think that it is, if this is a legit possibility, that it is, and maybe we're being naive about it, that it is benevolent, in nature, not malevolent. But let's go down that malevolent, trail there. Let's kind of get into the nitty gritty. Let's get into the possibly disturbing. Is there some sort of like human, I don't want to say trafficking because that sounds terrible, but some sort of human trade going on for perhaps hybrid breeding purposes? I'm not sure. I mean, would a Mike Carbno be more valuable than a Patrick Koffenberg in a trade?
Don't get your ego up and on
Who's
uproar.
to say? Who's to say? I mean, maybe one alien species is saying, we'll give you 5 PKs for 1 Mike, because that's the equivalent. That's a fair trade. I mean, I'm a teeny tiny little human being, so
yes, and I'm like 3 times bigger than you, and even after losing weight,
you're not 3 times bigger than me. Come on now.
Well.
And I'm not that teeny tiny, but
no, you're not.
Well, again, what do you think? Are there nefarious goings-ons under the ocean's surface, Mike?
Absolutely. There's got to be, like I said, there's all types down there. Maybe there's a food trade where one cannibalistic race of beings, they like human eyeballs or something, just snack on while they're watching a movie. Who knows? Anything can be going on. That's just,
well, again, it's the yin and the yang, right, Mike? I mean,
absolutely,
to balance it out, the dark side and the light side. Maybe there is some down there that are here for our benefit. They are trying to guide us, to direct us in the positive manner. They want to help us. They want to help preserve what we have. And then there's another one that wants to siphon everything they can from the earth to get it while it's here. Before the other guys come in here and ransack the place.
Ramshackle.
Yeah, it's like get to Earth before it runs out of its goodies.
Yeah, there's commercials on intergalactic internet. Hurry,
fast,
get to,
exactly.
North America, they are having a sale on human heads, teeth, and eyeballs.
Get it while it lasts. Yeah, I can totally see that, man. Oh, I mean, it's sad, but hey, I mean, who knows? On an intergalactic scale, I mean, we could very well be minuscule, microscopic in nature. We don't mean 2 cents to them. It's like, well, you guys are running out, so we're here to try and prolong you as much as we can. It's something that we've talked about several times, Mike, the idea of like hybrid breeding for whatever reasons, maybe generations past of the alien species needs us to survive. I mean, I don't want to go on and on about it again because, like I said, we have talked about it before, but you have to consider that possibility. And maybe it's cost saving for them to just have a place to stay here instead of traveling from all the damn time. It's like, really, we have to go all the way to Earth again? Can't we just send Billy and George over there to hang out for a while and do our bidding?
I just got back. Send somebody else.
Right, exactly. That place stinks, man.
My webbed feet are just killing me.
Webbed feet. Yeah.
Some kind of an alien.
Well, underwater,
structural.
It'll help them to have webbed feet for sure.
Yeah. But speaking of possible ideas of the true possibility of this being factual, look at the Navy that has the footage of the Tic Tacs and things.
Yeah, right. There's lots of kind of fairly recently released footage, of I believe it was even shown on, on major news broadcasts, of an unidentified flying object appearing to submerge itself into the ocean. I mean, what's going on there? Again, are they slowly releasing tidbits of information here and there just to keep people like Mike and I quiet? Or, millions of people quiet, by the way, kind of satiate our appetite for the truth. It's like, well, we'll give you a little bit here and there just to shut you up. But we're not revealing anything by doing that.
They just end up being empty promises with just a little bit of extra glaze on it.
Well, right. Exactly. I mean, it's maddening. It's frustrating. This so-called reveal has been mind-bogglingly. Say that. Say mind-bogglingly.
Mind-bogglingly.
There you go. Very good.
Bogglingly.
It's been frustrating. I mean, there seems to be something else going on. A little bit of subterfuge, There's something that's going on, that they're not being straightforward at all. But, maybe they aren't being straightforward because they simply don't know either. And I'm talking about the mainstream media. I'm talking about higher ups in government, perhaps, Again, throwing us little tidbits just to keep us, satiated and satisfied and to shut our mouths just for a little bit.
And they know plenty.
Yeah. I don't know, but what else are they hiding? I mean, we're going off on a whole other tangent here. We're not going to dive down into conspiracies and all that rigmarole. But it is intriguing, to think about it. Now,
go ahead.
Well, I want to have time to dive into our moments of the macabre, obviously. So macabre. Do you buy into the idea that Atlantis ever existed, Mike? Do you buy into the notion of Atlantis?
I do, and even if it's just a human structural thing that's ancient and was wiped out, that would be fine. Do I believe that it was a alien base? Later being submerged. Of course, I would love to believe that they're an alien base, and that's very possible. But there's probably many of these things that have happened that we don't know in our history. Like another city that's been, swallowed up by the ocean or whatever. I think it can go either way, but I would love it if they were, a superior being, the technology and everything where they had more than what we have now. That's what I would love to think.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that would be absolutely fascinating, and mind-blowing for sure. And there's any number of pathways that discussion could lead us, with the possibility of an Atlantis. I mean, why was it sunk? Why has it supposedly disappeared? Was that due to nefarious reasons? There's that word again for the evening. That's our favorite word for the episode, nefarious. Was this, we talked about separate alien subsets, perhaps dueling it out under the seas? Was Atlantis an alien base that was wiped out by another alien technology or alien intelligence, right?
That's very possible. I have a thought that just popped into my head.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've seen like drawings and artist renditions of Atlantis, and it's like a very large round landmass, and it's got like a moat around it, and there's other like lines around it from the outside.
Yes, very symmetrical.
Very. What if? Just what if, mind you, and this is something to ponder.
Oh, there's that word, ponder.
Yes. What if this Atlantis was actually not a city, but a ship that has been there parked for eons and eons before our written history or the knowledge of history so far back. And the reason it's gone is because it left. It took off. It went back home.
I
Or
love that.
Back to it.
I
No, that's just-
love that idea.
Hmm.
And then I'll fire this idea back at you. Maybe it isn't gone, but maybe such a thing as Atlantis, maybe, as you said, Mike, perhaps it was a crashed spacecraft that has been left here for us to potentially discover and not believe in, right?
Right. Yeah, right.
I like that idea. I love the idea. I love both of those notions. I mean, again, we sound silly when we reference fictional movies, but how ginormous was that craft in the abyss?
Yeah. Well, and when it came up, look at what came up with it.
Right.
That was sitting on this ship for
The massive ships.
hundreds and hundreds of years.
So, I mean, who's to say? I really like that idea, Mike. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you're the first person in the history of Earth to think of that.
Well, I don't know. And I think more likely that if it was a ship, it was there, it landed there. This area was built for this ship, and it was meant to be there. I don't think it crashed. I think it was meant to be there. It was on a mission for, say, 40,000 years. Who knows? Well, beyond further than 40,000 years.
And then when I was like, okay, we've been here long enough. We've done our due diligence. Our mission is complete. It's time to leave.
They've finished their scientific experiments and the generations and generations of humans that they've been able to study over time. So I don't know. It's a thought.
I like that thought, Mike. It's a very pertinent, very thoughtful thought.
Yeah, I felt like a mousetrap snapped in my head, and all of a sudden that just crapped right out of me.
Owie! I don't want mousetraps going off in your head.
Well,
I should change the title of the episode to that. Mousetrap in Mike's head. Owie!
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Nipping off pieces of brain every time it snaps.
Okay.
Anyway.
Enough.
Enough of that. That's enough of that.
Another thing that, I believe I mentioned it earlier, but I'm just double checking my notes here. We talked about it possibly being just simply a vantage point to observe us or to study us. I mean, what could they be learning from us? We assume that they are far beyond us in technology, far beyond us in intelligence, far beyond us in any number of capabilities. What would they have to learn from studying us? Well, I'm going to answer that own question. Why do humans study animals? I'd like to think that perhaps, us humans, for the most part, are more intelligently developed than a good portion of the animal population, but we still study them. We still want to learn from them. Somehow we want to learn about them. Maybe that's kind of maybe they're doing that. They're studying this, I don't know, to them, a lesser developed species, to see, perhaps find similarities, or they're going to try and learn from what we do wrong. Any number of things.
We could actually be like an ant farm to a massive, extremely intelligent race of beings.
Right.
No, I'm not saying I believe that. I mean, there's so many theories, and that's, you just got to throw another one in there.
Another one I wrote down, Mike, I mentioned it earlier, as a hideout, but what perhaps are they hiding from? Now, this is, again, we're getting kind of down into the dirt and the grime here of any number of possibilities. Perhaps is a certain alien civilization hiding out from perhaps another alien civilization that has perhaps been, I don't know, I don't want to necessarily say attacking, but maybe the Earth is an escape for a certain alien species. They've had it with the hierarchy. They're taking off. They don't want to deal with whatever they're dealing with out there in space, and they're like, to hell with you, Mr. Twister. We're going to this blue planet called Earth to get away from your damn oppression. I mean, you get what I'm saying here, don't you, Mike? I mean, maybe it sounds ridiculous, but you never know.
Just think of the movie Alien versus Predator.
Never seen it,
Oh, well.
but I will think about it.
Yeah. I'm sure you will. Well, I
But
think
what's
of
your
the
point,
Sound
though?
of Music daily, and that's, it gets me nowhere. So, but you go ahead and try.
Are the hills alive still?
The hills are alive with the sound of Griswold.
Yes, thank you for saying Griswold. Oh, I was hoping you'd say that. That was a damn fine Clark Griswold impersonation there, Mike.
Yeah. The dulcet tones of Mike Carbino trying to do Clark Griswold.
Now I'm picturing you dressed up in lederhosen on a hill,
Lederhosen.
spinning around.
Only if they're 100% leather.
There you go.
None of that green fabric stuff or anything like that.
Yeah.
No tassels.
To hell with tassels. Well, there's a podcast title right there. To hell with tassels.
Yeah.
Okay, so again,
Never put tassels on your lederhosen.
oh gosh, that sounds painful.
Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
So I hope you got my point. There is another, like I said, it's a silly possibility, but you never know. You can't count count everything off just because it sounds silly, because it I can't speak. It very well may be true. There we go. I finally got it out. They're simply trying to get away from oppression.
Anything
on
is
their
possible.
end. Anything is possible. We already mentioned that perhaps they are underwater because of buttons. I heard he didn't say buttons, so. We already talked about perhaps the sea being a protective agent of sorts for them. They possibly using water for control, maybe health benefits. Oh my gosh, the possibilities are endless, Mike. Before we move on to the moments of the Macabre, do you have any final thoughts? Any final, I guess, gut feelings / theories on the idea of, are we surrounded by alien intelligence submerged in the depths of the sea?
I believe so. Even up in the sky, we're being observed.
No, you believe so. You believe that it's a reality. That's what you're saying? Or are you saying possibly?
I believe that's possibly a reality.
Okay, gotcha.
But, I want to believe. I believe better than you do anyway. But anyway,
Hey.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thought. There's a million different theories. I was also thinking, what if somewhere deep in the Mariana Trench, that even deeper, there's some kind of an alien penal colony?
Goodness gracious.
That just popped into my head.
I think you just wanted to say penal. I think that's what you said. Buttons, goddamn.
But
no, I do. I do know what you're talking about. Obviously, we don't know either way for sure, but it sure is fun to discuss all the possibilities. What do you guys think? Send us your thoughts. Are we just totally out of it? Are we being too wacky for even the Paranormally Zone? Hey, nothing's too wacky for a Paranormally Zone discussion for sure. I kind of sit on the, we always say that I straddle the proverbial paranormal fence here, on a lot of subjects. Believe it or not, Mike, if this was an episode where we had to give our yay or nay, no shades of gray, terminal episode, so to speak, which we need to pull out again.
Oh, absolutely.
I think I would say yay to this.
Yeah, 100% yay from my end.
It's just the idea of, for some reason, the idea of being protected and being so well hidden, but yet being so close, being here, but yet being able to observe. What a perfect vantage point.
Yeah. And they know our technology completely, so they know where they can go where we cannot get to.
Yeah, exactly. So, they know that we're capable. They know what we are capable of and what we are not capable of. As I jokingly said before we recorded, unless, of course, you're James Cameron himself, who built his own submersible and went down to the bottom of the Marinara Trench. Yeah, I know it's not Marinara, everybody. I just like saying that. Yeah, I would say, Mike, that I would give it a big old fat yay on that one. So, cool beans.
I'm glad we are on the same page with that.
Mike, you ready to wrap up the show with a little a brief moment of the macabre? And it's not even really brief. Macabre. I'll go through this as fast as I can. It's going to be hard because I find this story absolutely fascinating. So bear with me.
I want to hear it.
Well, hold on. I'm leaning over. Okay, I'm showing. This is for Mike only. I'm sorry because the viewers, or we don't have any viewers. See that right there, Mike? It's an awesome book.
In the Heart of the Sea.
In the Heart of the Sea: The Tragedy of the Whale Ship Essex.
Oh yeah, great
Are
story.
you familiar with that story?
Kinda.
Okay. Like I said, I mean that's one of those books that I had memorized almost because I've just devoured it. It's a true story, okay? And in a real sense, it inspired Herman Melville's Moby Dick. Just for the fact that the main character in Moby Dick, obviously,
They call me Ishmael.
yeah, besides him, is of course
Okay.
the giant white whale.
Yeah.
The 85-foot sperm whale. Well, guess what inspired that? Yes, you guessed it. An 85-foot, no kidding, allegedly 85-foot sperm whale that sank the whale ship Essex.
A spermatozoa whale.
Very good, Mike. Very good. Over 200 years ago, 224 this November to be exact.
Wow.
To be brief, yes, the whale ship Essex. You guessed it. It was a whale ship. It was on at this point, 15-month-long journey into the sea, Mike. Across the Pacific Ocean. The Essex was kind of a smaller whaling ship, loaded with a few even smaller whale boats. And don't worry, Mike, I'm not going to bore everybody to death.
Oh,
with
no,
the details.
I'm not thinking you are. But I bet they ate a lot of fish.
Funny you said that because they ended up eating a hell of a lot more.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, buttons. Buttons. No, it is a tragic story. I mean, it's in some ways you can look at it as an inspiring story, but but tragic, horrific, definitely macabre. Macarbonora.
Yes.
Macarbonora. No, that doesn't work for you.
Yep. You pull back a little bit, Patrick.
Okay, you hush. Pull back, he says. Yeah, true life story that actually, absolutely inspired Moby Dick.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, I'll spare you too many details. 21 sailors started their journey. 15 months
One and a
later-
half made it back.
Well, damn near close, Mike. Only 5 were found living. 3 others were somehow miraculously discovered on an island that they did manage to find somehow after the Essex was stove by a whale. How many thousands of miles, Mike, do you think that they traveled in these 20-foot whale boats? 3 whale boats occupied by 21 human beings after the Essex was sunk.
That's ridiculous.
Well, I was asking you a question, actually. I know you don't know the answer, so it was just something I threw out there. Well over 3,000 miles, Mike. In the during the most inhuman conditions. I want you to try and put yourself in these boats. Jam-packed, 20-foot boats, maybe slightly longer. I think the largest one maybe have been 28 feet. Jam-packed with starving, dehydrated, malnourished human beings. The middle of a placid Pacific Ocean. I'm telling you.
The ulcers just hang there.
Well, I'm telling there's a reason that some parts of the ocean is called
you
the
said-
doldrums.
I'm sorry.
Or doldrums, Mike's distracting me because he's got the biggest giggle or biggest smirk on his
Well,
face right now.
You said placid, right?
I did.
I thought you said flaccid.
Oh, for God's
I'm sorry. That didn't go in with the story very well.
Oh, yes, the water was flaccid. I'll say that just to appease Mike. Now he's muted his mic. You're muted, by the way. I can't hear what you're saying. So this might
Probably just as well.
I was going to say it might be for the best.
Yeah.
I'm trying to avoid reading the notes here because if I start reading all these notes and articles, I'm trying to go off the top of my head. Are you a fan of Ron Howard, Mike? He did make a movie called In the Heart of the Sea, which it's a well-made movie, but of course it cuts out so much of what actually they had to endure, and it changed quite a few of the facts, kind of fit the drama of the story, and doesn't quite line up. But again, Mike, I want you to picture yourself the blazing sun, not flaccid, placid ocean.
I mean, like still no movement.
No movement for days, months on end.
Oh man!
The boats were separated actually. At one point, they had them all tied together at one point. Then they decided to just that was actually proven to be more dangerous than safe to keep them all tied together because if one went down, they were all going to go down.
Sure.
They lost contact with each other almost nightly for various weather reasons. They tried to salvage as many goods as they could from the ship while it was sinking because they were out. Actually, they had just hooked onto a whale. Two of the whale boats were out there hooked onto a sperm whale. When crew members happened to glance back, and they noticed that they couldn't see their ship anymore. It looked like it was kind of sideways because it was. It was literally attacked by an 85-foot whale, described by several crew members, including the one on the boat who wrote a book, Owen Chase, that it was 85 feet long. Rammed the boat, came back, re-energized, rammed it again, sank the damn ship. They salvaged some tortoises, as much water as they could. They ran out of the water. They ran out of tortoises. They were able to land on an island called Henderson Island like a month into this. A month already. At the brink of death when by some sort of miracle they stumbled across this Henderson Island. Stayed on there for about a week. They found a water spring. They were able to fill up however many gallons of water. 3 of the members decided to stay on Henderson, Mike, at this point because they didn't want to go back on the ocean.
Oh yeah, I don't blame them.
The rest of the crew decided, well, we're going to do this, and they figured they'd never see each other again. It's funny, too, because when they're on Henderson, this island, if they would have just simply kept going like another 100 miles, they would have come across Pitcairn Island, Mike. I don't know if you're familiar with Pitcairn. That is where the descendants of the famous mutiny on the Bounty family resided at that point, and they would have been welcomed with open arms and probably would have survived. Any number of decisions could have went any other way. Aside from the gory details, Mike, people started slowly dying aboard these whale boats, one by one, slowly going crazy, losing their minds, hallucinating, starving, dehydrated. For the longest time, they kept throwing the bodies overboard. They try and give them a proper burial at sea, so to speak. In hindsight, they're going, damn it, why the hell didn't we use these bodies for bait? Because they probably could have caught some damn tasty shark or something if they would use some limbs of their shipmates. Nope. Buttons. They decided otherwise. Until finally, Mike, it became unbearable. Not only did they have to survive and endure the never-ending beatdown of the sun, dehydration, the loss of their bowel movements, the control of the bowel movements, drinking of their own urine, all that great stuff. You can only imagine the horrors that they had to endure. Finally, they decided it had to be done. The next person who dies, we're going to have to eat them. We are going to have to chop them up and start feeding ourselves. We're going to live off of our shipmates, people that we have been with for over a year and a half on this boat. People we have come to know very well.
That's crazy.
As I said, the whale boats became separated, Mike. both of them eventually decided that they had no other alternative but to eat those who were dying. One by one, this happened until, Mike, one boat only had 3 survivors. The other only had 2. By some miracle, they were finally discovered. The boat of 2, which included Captain George Pollard, were discovered by a nearby ship. When they found them, they were skeletons. Human skeletons laying at the bottom of these whaleboats. Not aware of anything, Mike. Clinging to the bones of their dead shipmates. Sucking the marrow out of these bones. Freaking out at the sight of another human being because they didn't know who the hell or what they were. And they were totally afraid that they were going to take those bones away from them. I can't imagine the psychological horror. I just can't imagine, and I simply don't want to imagine. Obviously, I'm leaving out 99% of the horrors that these people had to do, but I need to keep this as brief as I can. It's an inspiring story in some ways, but it's absolutely horrifying. The part that always gets me is being out there in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, Mike, for 3.5 to 4 months with nothing at all but the flat horizon of blue and the sun above you. I'd want to kill myself.
Well, that also kind of, hints at the survival, the instinct for survival. It takes you anywhere.
Oh my gosh, no, it's a power that is a lot of times unparalleled. I mean, it really is.
Right.
I mean, they were driven to this. They were driven. Okay, again, they realized the lot that they had. And I'm sorry I use that term because it's kind of, you'll understand why I'm sorry, because their lot in life at that point forced them to eventually draw lots as to who was going to be the next to die. If someone didn't naturally, quote unquote, naturally pass away, they're going to kill one. And they did. It was George Pollard, Captain George Pollard's own cousin, that drew the shortest lot. And they shot him. And they killed him, obviously, and then ate him.
Ate him up.
And the thing is, the nephew said, like, it is fine. He's like, I drew my lot. I am at peace with this decision. And he laid his head down on the gunnel, the side of the boat, and they shot him.
Well, his suffering was over.
Oh, my God. I highly recommend everyone check this story out. I'm not doing it justice at all. It's a site I would love to see, the Essex Museum. It's quite a story. That's all I'm saying. Definitely worthy of moments of macabre history in my mind. So thank you for indulging me, Mike. That was all off the top of my head, by the way, everybody. So if it sounded stilted and uneducated, that's because I was pulling it out of my ass.
It sounded just fine. It got everything across, and you made your point.
And I went on far too long.
You were quite articulate.
Oh, thanks, Mike. I appreciate it, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, buttons.
Oh, that was it. No, I said a. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you said yeah, you didn't go.
Yeah, not a.
Okay, Mike. I'm gonna give you a 3, 2, 1 because I'll be silent. I'm gonna go 3, 2, 1, and I want to hear your best buttons.
Okay.
Are you ready? Ready?
Ready. I'm ready.
Right. 3, 2, 1.
Buttons.
I like that. I like it. All right. Now one more take. Do it with like kind of the feeling like you're looking over a buffet and you're like you notice the taste you notice the tasty buttons and you're like, okay, do it that way. Okay, ready? All right. 3, 2, 1.
Deep fried buttons.
No. All right.
Well, you said buffet.
Okay. All right. Well, last one. Three's the charm. So that same enthusiasm, that same idea that you're overlooking a button bar, so to speak,
Button bar.
but leave out the deep fried, but the same vibe.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I knew you weren't going to like that, but I
Okay,
had to do it
here we
anyway.
go. This one's the winner. All right, 3,
Okay.
2, and a 3, 2, 1.
Buttons.
Thank you. That sounded just like at the museum. God.
Yeah.
I hope we get some feedback on that. I would love to hear from our listeners. I want you guys to tweet us. Tweet at us. Just go like hashtag buttons or just go buttons or something. Let's get.
Or if you need to, just say, Mike's an idiot.
No. Hell no. That's not the point of it at all. I just love that. It made me laugh my ass off. So, all right, Mike, we went on far too long probably, but this is going to be an awesome episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, everybody. It's been a while. We appreciate each and every one of you. Again, if you want to support the podcast, no better way to do it than to check out our Patreon page. And I will go there and I will make sure that you can sign up for $1 because that kind of disturbed me a little bit that wasn't actually working right now. So
yeah, because if that's giving people the wrong message, it's
Yeah.
like screw that.
exactly, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Awesome,
I
Mike.
just about did that myself.
I don't blame you.
No, I'm just
Don't
kidding.
blame you.
I'm
Well,
just
Mike,
kidding.
thanks so much for joining me, my friend. This has been a blast. Until next time, what do our paranormal pals need to do?
Peace out.
Buttons.